world that keeps on pushing me around, but I'll stand my ground, and I won't
July 25th, 2017. My guest is Jim Rizoli. He's on for the second time. He was on a year ago. He's a videographer. He's got the League of Extraordinary Revisionists. He does a lot of videos on the Holocaust, kind of his specialty. So, Jim, great to have you back on the show. How are you doing?
Oh, good. I'm happy to be back here. You do a really good job, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I think you and I are kind of in a parallel universe. We cover some of the same things, or we have a lot of the same views. I thought one thing I would sort of start off the conversation about is your specialty seems to be more on the truth about the Holocaust and getting that out, whereas I'm more the general problem of the, say, international Jewish power, more specifically the Rothschild Zionist Talmudist power in the world, how it relates to a lot of things. And yeah, your focus is more on the Holocaust. Does that make sense to you?
So much time in a day, and there's other people doing it like yourself. So what I do is I just specialize in one thing, and I mean I can talk about those other things, I can deal with all those other things in conversations, but there's not many people that just specialize in what I'm doing here. So you have to be specialized, and then you can really get the point across when you have to talk to people. So
yeah, I agree with that. Like the internet is so big and YouTube's so big, it's good to specialize, and just generally in life it's good to specialize. Like people have professions they specialize. So yeah, I'm kind of inspired by what you maybe talk about your motivations, how you came to this specialty versus other things.
What happened with me with this topic, it's kind of strange, because it was like through the back door that I got interested in it, and it was actually through illegal immigration. I was a really advocate of that, what's going on. Again, I'm against illegal immigration. And what happened in my town was, and it still is even worse, we could talk about that too, I suppose. We have, since 2000, an influx of illegals coming to the town. That really interested me. But what happened one day, I was just coming across on the internet a man named Ernest Zundel. And he was being deported. And I'm saying, here's a white guy being deported. I said, we have all these immigrants from South America and all over the place, and yet you never hear of any of them being deported. So I wanted to find out why this white fellow from Canada, actually from the United States at the time, was being deported. And so I looked on the internet and I come across Ernest Zundel. And then I come to find out, the topic that he really spoke about a lot was the Holocaust. And I said, holy moly, this is unbelievable. Because I always had an interest in the Holocaust topic anyway,
oh, wow.
Even before, and so that just made me to get into him and his site and everything dealing with him, and it was just, after I read all his information, I just kept going with it.
Wow, yeah, Ernst Zundel. So then that's when you got more immersed in the Holocaust. So that was so that became your raison d'etre.
Yeah.
I think that was around 2003. Like he was extradited from the States to Canada and in jail for 2 years, then sent to Germany for 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was good, and I haven't stopped since. And you can see all the books behind me. I have a tremendous library. I have all the Holocaust, or most of them, the Holocaust handbooks that are being produced by Germar Rudolph, and plus I have a lot of other books here too. I mean, you can't see right behind me, but there's a bookshelf right behind me that's full of the Holocaust handbooks. So I got plenty to read.
Yeah, we can talk a bit about that. And also, by coincidence, you and I both interviewed Germar Rudolph just in recent weeks. Mine was just, days after yours. Like I had him a year on before. We can talk a bit about that. But maybe just tell us a bit about your website, how people can find you, how they can donate to your work,
Sure. Well, my website is ccfile, ccfile with 2 I's.com, and a lot of information there has to do with immigration. I started out with illegal immigration first. That's why my website is called what it is, because it's called Concerned Citizens and Friends of Illegal Immigration Law Enforcement. That's what the CC file stands for. But then I just kind of morphed into all these other things on my website, dealing mostly with the Holocaust topic, and I have an extensive amount of information there, video links, and there's a lot of stuff on that website. So you could go there and find out what's going on there. Well, anyway, what did you want to talk about? Oh, people can get in touch with me through that website. I think the phone number is there that people can get in touch with me too. And we do have people that donate to our work because that enables us to travel around. And Diane and I actually just got back from Pennsylvania, which was a nice trip we had, 4th of July weekend. And we went down there to interview Gurma. And that was a really good interview. Really enjoyed that. And then we went to a thing called Freedom Palooza. I don't know if you ever heard of that. But
I've heard of it. Don't really know it though.
Yeah, well, it's a group of patriots that meet in Pennsylvania every year, and we went down there on our way back, coming through because it was in Pennsylvania also, and we went, through that area, in Quakertown is where it was, and then we stayed there for a couple of days, and I spoke there, and met some interesting people, some really, really good people.
Yeah.
And Kenny O'Keefe, you know him, Kenny O'Keefe?
Yeah.
This guy here is world famous. I mean, he's probably the most famous person out of all of us because he's all, on TV and,
Yeah, I watch his videos. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
speak.
so we met him there and he spoke and, and I spoke. And so it was a good event. And then we came back home and, you met Diane. She went to Toronto and visited, which I was supposed to be. But
yeah, let's talk about that. You and I were going to meet there. Yeah, yeah, you forgot to renew your passport. I did the same thing in 2013. I was going to meet a Buddhist monk in San Diego. I went there, and I didn't have my passport in time, so I couldn't go.
Really?
I had to delay my trip.
And what's funny is I only used that passport once before. Okay, so in all the time I've had it 10 years. 10 years, I only used it once. And the next time I go use it, it's out of date. And so anyway, I went and I got a new one, and it's funny now. Have you seen the new ones? What they look like?
Well, I haven't seen the American ones. I have a Canadian one.
Well, the new passport.
Mine is for 5 years, so.
Yeah, the new passports are just a card now. It's just like a credit card.
You're kidding. Let me see. Oh, I had no idea. You can hold it up to the camera.
Well, I don't want anybody seeing.
Oh no, you don't have to. Sorry. Yeah, but, we have the big ones in Canada.
Yeah, so it looks just like a credit card. I don't know if you can see it there, but
wow.
But it's only good though for like North America and South America. You know what I mean? It's not good for Europe. I'd have to still get the one with the book if I go to Europe. So anyway, I got that, and I haven't used it yet, but it's good, I guess, for 10 years again. So. Anyway, that's that. But it was good. Diane had a great time. She interviewed people, and she got some good video herself. And
I saw her there. Yeah, my video was in Toronto. Was there? Yeah, and just met her briefly there. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good. So I keep busy. I mean, what I do, because I'm retired, what I do during the day is I record videos, I read a tremendous amount, and watch videos, and I just compile information so that I'm ready to deal with topics that deal with the Holocaust. And it's fun. I really enjoy it. I got the time to do it, and I try to help people to come to an understanding of what's going on with that topic, because it is the biggest scam in the world. I mean,
talk a bit about your insight. Like, you have so much experience studying the Holocaust. I want to ask you a bit about sort of the psychology about how they pulled this off, how they pulled off this big lie, like how they planned it, in 1944, the leading up to it, and what's your perspective how they pulled this off?
Well, what basically happened here, and what I get out of the whole thing, because again, I read so much information on it, and you get all different views of things. What basically happened is Hitler wanted the Jews out of Germany because they were sabotagists. They were treasonous. They were working against Germany in so many ways because most of them were communist. About 70–80%, maybe more, were communist.
Yeah, they supported communism. Yeah, because they invented communism. They created the Russian Revolution.
Right,
so
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hitler, he couldn't have them there functioning because they would have disrupted Germany. All right. So what did he do? Well, he tried to get them out of Germany. Okay. He the transfer agreement. He tried to get them out. And a lot did leave. We're not saying that, some didn't leave. A lot of them did leave. Only the rich ones did, though. Okay, mostly. So
wasn't about 2/3 that left?
Yeah,
Or
right.
yeah.
But there was only in Germany maybe 100 to 200,000 Jews in Germany when the war started. Okay,
Yeah, and Hitler, he did accept Jews who accepted National Socialism. He accepted them in German
yeah, oh
society.
yeah. I mean, we know there was Jews that were in the armies, and the temples. They want you to think that all the temples were closed down. The Jews still functioned. Okay, they still were in towns. They weren't all in the camps, but anyway, the ones that were in the camps were there to keep them out of harm's way, and Hitler used them for labor, and that's basically what it was. But that's not to say there weren't a lot of Jews in the camps that were criminals. And
Yeah,
and, and
yeah, but also there were free Jews, like Jews that were part of that. They were even in the army. There's like 100,000
well,
in the army, free Jews. Yeah, you're talking the ones in the camps who are the ones who are basically communists and working against the system
right,
or
right.
dangerous. Yeah, so
And
he was
and
fair. You're saying he
and
was fair-minded.
there were people that were in concentration camps that were like jails. I mean, they couldn't go anywhere except there. All right, and those are the ones that caused the most problem, for Germany. So he had to contain them, and we're not saying that Hitler
Yeah,
didn't kill him, any of them for the sabotage or whatever they were doing, partisan activity. He did, but he didn't kill. They want you to think that the Einsatzgruppen assassinated like 90,000 of them, and I'm saying to myself, well, the true facts and what I've read is the Einsatzgruppen might have killed a couple thousand here or there, but they never killed 90,000 Jews. And if they did, where were they buried? I mean, you got to find them.
yeah,
They'd have to be
yeah,
buried somewhere. And if you found them, you find they were shot in the head, right? But there's been nobody to show where these people were buried, and yet we have the
yeah.
Katyn massacre. Remember the Katyn
Yeah.
massacre that happened, and
The Soviet Union
yeah,
perpetrated against
yeah,
the
and
Polish elite.
the Soviet Union did it to Polish, I guess, Polish officers. There was approximately 10,000 of them, and they
Yeah,
eventually found
and the
them.
intelligentsia, the elite of
Right.
society.
Yeah, and so they found them, and they found they had bullet holes in their heads. Okay, so
And they blamed it on the Germans, but we
yeah,
find out 50 years later, Gorbachev admitted that the Soviets did
right.
it.
And now getting back to the question now, how all this happened, it's very simple what happened here. The Americans and the Allies were doing a lot of atrocities against the Germans at the end of the war. They were bombing the heck out of them. They bombed
Yeah,
150 cities, okay? And they bombed them to oblivion and caused hundreds of thousands of deaths. And so what happened is they had to take the blame off the Allies by blaming the Germans for being the atrocity people, doing all these bad things. And so the blame just shifted over to the Germans, and they created all these lies, the homicidal gas chambers, and the hangings and the shootings. They embellished on it more than it was. And so now the Germans were the bad guys, and the Allies were the good guys, and that's the story. And the Jews in the
yeah,
camps just ran with it themselves because they had a lie and say
yeah,
what happened to them that didn't happen, and they lied. They were saying all these atrocity things that were happening to them that weren't even true. So that's what happened to them, and the whole story just went backwards. It's just completely the opposite of what it was. Hitler was there trying to actually save Europe from the invasion of the communists. All right, and the
yeah,
Allies were supporting the wrong person. Simple as that. The Allies
yeah.
supported, Stalin when they should have been supporting Hitler, because
Maybe
Hitler.
we should talk a bit about that. Like, most people are not aware that Stalin was preparing to invade Germany, like at June 22nd, 1941, when Hitler attacked. It was a preemptive strike.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to talk a bit about that? Because I'm sure most
Well, I
people
mean,
don't, and
that
it
was,
changes the whole game, you
well,
know?
you have to understand. Everybody makes a big deal. They said, "Oh, World War II started in 1939 when Hitler invaded Poland." Well, you have to understand, Hitler didn't go into Poland just for no reason. He went there because he had to save the German people that were in Poland that were getting murdered by all the Polish. They were killing all the German people, and they were like maybe 50,000 of them, or thousands that were being killed. So
Yeah, Germans.
Hitler went into Poland to stop the atrocities against his own, German people. Now, nobody mentions that, Germany had a pact with Stalin, and Stalin invaded Poland too. He took a part of
Yeah,
Poland himself, but nobody tells you or complains about that. They just
Yeah, they're
complain.
supposed to do it on the same day, but Stalin waits 2 weeks, so the Germans look bad, and then he comes in 2 weeks
Yeah.
later.
So
So
there
who's
you
the
have it.
bad guy?
Yeah. But the situation, Germany and Hitler were kind of like supposedly on good terms, but then things went south there pretty quick
The
because
Soviet Union.
Stalin had his own plans. They wanted Germany. I mean, that was simply put. He wanted to take over Germany, and then when he got the backing of the United States to come in and help him out, that really made the war turn against Germany because the Germans were really winning in the beginning, and when they went into Russia, you have to understand when they were going into Moscow here and trying to take over, they were doing pretty well except the weather got bad and things went bad there
Yeah.
too. But then the Soviets they got a lot of help from the United States, the Lend-Lease. They were lending them all the planes and
Yeah.
lending them trucks and all the supplies.
A lot of Ford trucks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Billions of dollars.
get that technology and all the help from the United States, they would have lost the war right there. The thing would have been over. Germany would have won. But because of the
Yeah.
United States doing that, which they shouldn't have done, the situation turned against Germany because Germany was fighting in so many fronts. They couldn't keep all the fronts going, with manpower and equipment and all these things. They were strung out too much. And so, Germany eventually had to concede. They were just overwhelmed by all the people that were coming against them.
But I think, of all the lies, most of what we've been told, of course, all our lives, World War II was a lie. But I think one of the very biggest ones was that Stalin was planning on invading Germany, Western Europe. Like he built up about 5 million soldiers. He had thousands of tanks, planes, everything near the German border, preparing to attack Germany. So when Hitler and the Germans became aware of this, they had really no choice but to make a preemptive strike. Like it's not that they wanted to invade the Soviet Union; they had no choice. It was a defensive strike, and people don't realize this. This is published in a book by Victor Suvorov's got a book called Icebreaker. Who Started World War II. He also did a video in California in 2009, which is on YouTube. And also there's another book called Stalin's Other War. And this is not commonly accepted or known in history, but this changes the whole history of World War II because everyone blames Germany for attacking the Soviet Union, but it was out of defense. And having done that, they had to stop communism. Right. Did you want to comment a bit on that?
Well, yeah, that was the whole point. And you have to also understand, too, that Hitler tried to make peace with England, in 1940. I mean, he always was trying to stop the war. He didn't want to have a war with England because you have to understand, England and Germany are related with the blood ties. Okay, so he'd be fighting against his own people more or less. And so Hitler, he made all these efforts. And then, of course, Hess, he sent his right-hand man. Well, I don't know if he sent him, but he went. Hess went to,
I'd say he probably sent him, yeah.
Well, Hess went to Scotland. He flew his plane in there and tried to get in touch, I believe, with the king, but they wouldn't let him get in touch with him. And they just took him, and eventually he
pilot with him. Should have brought a better pilot with him. He flew himself, and he didn't know how to land in the right place, so he parachuted out and got caught by a farmer with a pitchfork. History.
Well, it was a mess, but the point is, you can see why Germany was right, because when they caught Hess, they eventually put him on trial, with the Nuremberg trials, I believe, and then he eventually, went to jail. But he went to jail forever. I mean, think about it.
Yeah, until 1987, it's like 93 years old. Yeah, and then he was murdered in the end.
Right, but it's like, why would you put a guy in prison that didn't do anything wrong? Okay, that his only thing he did, wrong, if you want to say that, he tried to get in touch with the people in Britain so that he could make peace with them. I mean, this is absolutely insane. So that just shows you that they had something to hide. And so they put him in Spandau prison. I mean, think about this. They only had a few people in Spandau prison, this big, huge prison, and eventually all the other ones died, and he was the last one in Spandau prison. It was costing, I think, $1 million a year just to keep him in that prison.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And then he died.
Yeah, they had something to hide. I wonder what they're trying to hide. They didn't want to know the complicity of the British, who wanted peace with Hitler, probably.
Yeah, that's why they didn't want people to know that. So, again, people don't understand that Hitler didn't want to, they think, he wanted to take over the world. He wanted to, to be the top man. He wanted peace, and he wanted to contain the communist threat in Europe. Okay, and Germany was the biggest part of that contingent of countries, and so he had to go out and try to do this because no one else was doing it. And of course, the
Yeah.
Jews, they got roped into this, and they became the main force of what happened during the World War II, when it wasn't. They were just a small part of what happened, and so now we get all the Holocaust atrocity stories, lies, the homicidal gas chambers, and all the things that they said happened to them, completely lies, and you can't do anything about it because the Holocaust legend has been set in stone from the Nuremberg trials. They said that you can't question what happened. And anybody that questions it are going to get repercussions. And the Germans, they couldn't tell the truth because they'd lose their pensions, they'd get shipped off to Siberia, or whatever. I mean, why would they tell the truth? And that's why you never hear too many Germans telling the truth.
Yeah, it's incredible how the power of brainwashing. You think like after the war, how so many Germans, many knew the truth and they got brainwashed, or someone they knew it and then they forgot it. It's almost a profound kind of power that these international Jews have had to brainwash the world. Like
Right.
it's become the religion of Holocaustianity. It's kind
Yeah.
of a Jewish religion for the Gentiles. It's their religion for us. It's their tribal story, but we have to believe their religion basically.
Right, right. And even before all this happened here, the Holocaust atrocity stories was a rumor. Okay, if you read this online, there's a really good article. If you just do a search for Holocaust rumor, Holocaust gas chamber myth, all right, you'll come up with a website that has a link to a PDF that talks about the British actually bringing the Holocaust homicidal gas chamber myth into reality, so people were starting to believe what happened. And they started to think that, yeah, this was true. When the British knew it was a lie, and they just played and went with it later, and now everybody believes it. But in the beginning, it was a rumor, and the British are the ones that set that rumor in place to fool everybody, and now everybody believes it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I admire that you've really been focusing on this issue. You had a whole YouTube channel deleted with how many, like 600 videos
yeah,
deleted from
well, I
YouTube?
mean, I had quite a few. What happened with me was I had a YouTube channel with about 600 videos. They all weren't dealing with this topic, but most of them were. And what happened, there was a group on Facebook called They Can't. That was the name of them. And it was all made up of Jews or people supporting them. And they targeted my YouTube channel. And in 2 days, they brought it down. 2 days. Imagine that.
Wow. See, this is something that concerns me. So a Jewish group, they went after
Oh, yeah.
YouTube to target you.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only did they
Wow.
target me, they got me banned on Facebook. They kicked me off of Facebook. So
Yeah, I
I'm
was
not
kicked
on.
off of Facebook too.
Yeah, but
Wow.
I'm not on Facebook with my real name. I don't know what happened, and I don't even know if I can get back on. They completely took me off of Facebook, all because of these Jews. And what's funny about it is they don't want people watching the videos, and I didn't get kicked off. They didn't say your videos were bad. They just kicked me off. So the Jews were just saying get the guy off of YouTube with no reason why. They were just saying get him off, and YouTube got me off. So
Yeah.
I still have other sites though. I have 5 or 6 or more other
But
sites.
I want to hear more about this group. I remember Paul Fromm telling me once, don't suffer in silence. If you've been persecuted by the Jews, you should make it public. So tell us more about this group. What was their name again?
Well, the name of the group on Facebook was They Can't. That was the name of them. I don't know if they're still around or what. And basically, I guess they used the name because it's saying they can't, like us, do what we're doing. Okay? So that was the group. So I don't know where they are now. I haven't even looked back to see if they're still around. But they were I couldn't believe it. In 2 days, they were bragging. They said, we're going to get this guy off of Facebook because they're going to get everybody to complain. And they complained about the videos, my channel, and 2 days I was off. But I got all my
Wow.
videos back up again. Most of them are back up now anyway. And
But I think if they can't, that just shows their thinking. Like we're the goy, we're cattle to them, and they'll dictate what is right or wrong. So they just say they can't. Like you can't do this because that's
right,
what they decide.
right.
Just the arrogance of that attitude. That's just the appropriate title for them. They
Oh yeah,
can't.
yeah. And and the thing is, getting back to you, even you out where you're coming from, I'm really interested in the free speech issue. Okay, and out of all the topics in the world, okay, the Holocaust is the only topic that is banned in 21 countries, or more, maybe more today. Okay.
Is that really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can't.
Oh.
You can't. You and I talking right now. If it was in Germany, well, this video won't be shown in Germany because they'll ban it.
Yeah.
It gets banned. Okay. So.
Yeah, YouTube tells me I'm banned in Germany, or they're not. It shows me videos that are not aired in Germany. Some
Right.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, to show you how important the Holocaust topic is even today, after 75 years, that you can go to jail, you can be prosecuted, and they're even working here in this country to try to stop us from getting our videos shown. But again, we have the Constitution, and you got free speech and the First Amendment and all this that, and hopefully that's not going to happen. But the way I look at it, I see the Jews really making some big inroads with the politicians, and they're really trying to erode the free speech issue on this topic especially. But if they can take this topic down, then what do you think is going to happen to all the other topics? They're going to do the same thing. It's just going to be, everything's going to fall right like dominoes right into place. If if the Holocaust can't be discussed, what's next? The belief in God, evolution, creation, gays, immigrants. I mean, all these hot topics. They're going to stop these from being discussed too. I really think that's what the direction that they're heading. So
Yeah, I thought, like the future is uncertain. I think if Hillary gotten elected, I think it's possible she might have been able to manipulate the Supreme Court to somehow get around the First Amendment and stop us talking about the Holocaust. I'm glad Trump's in. But yeah, like you're saying, we're kind of in the frontline true soldiers. I really admire what you're doing and what we're doing. We're sort of risking everything, and we don't know what the future will bring, but we're doing the right thing. But yeah.
I mean, it's sad. And the thing that, I'm glad Trump got in, but boy, I want to see him start taking a stand against Israel here. It seems like he's in their pocket. I don't know what's going on here. He's every time he's talking, he's friends of Israel and everybody loves him and support Israel. Because if he's going to go in that direction, that's going to affect us. So
we could talk about Trump. I mean, that's topical. My own feeling is I don't know, but just my assessment is I feel that he's walking this very fine line that in order to get elected as president and to be president, he's got to live in a world that balanced with all this Jewish power around this. I call the Rothschild Zionist Talmudic power. So I would say you have to, in a sense, work with the devil. So I think as a politician, he has to appease Israel. But what he really believes, what he really feels, he's a mystery man to me. So I still support Trump. I think in realistically he's better than Hillary, but I think realistically maybe he's doing the best he can with all the power. I don't want to end up assassinating like President Kennedy. Right. So I think he's done some good things, like pulling us out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is a globalist scheme, and I don't believe that in like the Paris climate treaty. Got out of that. I think he was wise to do that. So what do you think? I would just get your view.
I just see, I just read in the paper yesterday or whatever about they're trying to make laws against divestment in Israel. That if you have any divestment policy of Israel to take your money from Israel supporting them, that they're going to put you in jail or fine you or whatever, and that's bothersome. I mean, why? If you don't want to support Israel, and that's fine. I mean, why should that be something that people go to jail for? I mean, come on. I mean, what gets me about that? Look at the Jews did to Germany in 1933. Okay, they told the whole world to divest from Germany, not to buy their products. Okay, but it's okay for the Jews to do it, but not for us. I mean, the Jews did it in 1933, and then in
they declared war on Germany first, and total economic boycott. There's like 30,000 meeting in Madison Square Gardens in New York. Big meetings. People can see this online. Yeah, so they started it. Yeah.
They started. I mean, but yet now look at the Jews are trying to get their way here. So I don't I think it's either Trump is a good he puts a good face on here, two-faced. He doesn't really care for the Jews, but he's making it look like he cares for them. fine. But if he really is backing them up with his heart, man, we're going to be in big trouble. I hope that's not going to be the case.
Yeah,
But
I
he is
guess
better.
time
He
will
is better.
tell.
Yeah, he is better than Hillary. There's no doubt about it. Okay,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm just really worried about that. Because the topic that I deal with, I mean, I'm banned now in my cable shows. I can't put these my cable shows up dealing with the topic because they ban me. But the only good thing about that is Diane has taken up the slack. She's producing 4 cable shows now, and plus she has a cable show in the next town. So she's actually doing this all on her own. I'm not helping her. Pretty much she's producing them and doing everything herself. So they're on TV now, a few times a week in my
What's
town.
it about? Tell us about her
Oh, they
shows.
deal they deal with all the Holocaust topics. Showing all the good videos that are out there dealing with the Holocaust. I mean, there's one that's
Good.
called one third the Holocaust.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's one about Hitler. All about Hitler, and the 6-hour one on Hitler. She's played all these videos. I mean, all these great videos have been shown on the TV. So whether people or not are watching them, that's another story. But the fact is, she's able to do that, and people can watch them on cable TV. But they're played late at night, after 12 o'clock, 11, 12 o'clock. So, that's the only way we can get it done. She can get it done again. But she's the one that's doing this, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, this topic is a real tough topic to deal with because everybody's
Yes, almost the
against us.
toughest. Yeah.
Oh my God, everybody's against us. I mean, when I was dealing with the immigration topic, I used to be the go-to guy when we were dealing with the immigration problem in my town and everything. But now, once I got into the Holocaust topic, that was the end of that. So no one wants to talk to me at all, because they know my views on this topic here. It's amazing how
This
that
is something to talk about, the personal ostracization. I mean, probably all of us in the business feel this, but maybe we don't talk about it much. I'll just start off a personal story I had yesterday. I met an old friend I've known since 1981. I've known her for decades, a close friend. And we have a mutual close friend who stopped talking to me 4 years ago just because of the Holocaust. So I met with her, and she still says, Brian, all those witnesses, you still don't believe those witnesses. So she doesn't agree with me, but she still tolerates me because we're such old friends. So we met for coffee at a coffee shop. And I sent her evidence, like I did a video with Professor Jim Fetzer a month ago on the Holocaust and World War II mythology, but she never even looked at it. And I said, well, we had evidence there from, Raoul Hilberg, who was the biggest expert in the world on the gas chambers, from their side of the story. And she wouldn't even look at it, wouldn't even consider it. So it's kind of a sad feeling, an old friend. And this has been like for the last 3 years we've had this, and she won't even look at the evidence. So.
Well, I mean, I can't count on my hand how many close friends I have. I mean, because of the topic, because people don't want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But, and that bothers me too, because if people just looked at simple things, like for instance, there's some good websites out there now. One is called the Holocaust Deprogrammingcourse.com, and that's just how it's spelled, Holocaust Deprogrammingcourse.com. And you'll find out there the information that will hopefully clear your mind from all the lies that have come down through time. Then you can go to the HolocaustHandbooks.com. That's where all the books you can get dealing with the Holocaust topic from the revisionist viewpoint. They banned most of those books, I think, like Grandma was saying, on YouTube, but you can get them through him. And there's some good websites. IHR.org is a good website. VHO.org is a good website. Kodo, CODOH, I think it's com.
Yeah, Kodo.com, I think.
Kodo.com is a good website. And then my website, CCFIILE.com. There is plenty of revisionist material out there, plenty of revisionist books, so people can read, but you got to read them,
But how about a personal story, like of losing friends? Like I could think of other stories. You want to talk about old friends or good friends, or people that don't want to? People walk across the street when they see you.
No. I mean, what happened with me was that once I got on the Holocaust topic, people just don't want to deal with it anymore. And politically, I'm pretty active in the town. I'm actually running for mayor, and people just write you right off. They laugh at you. And the thing is,
But what do they say? Like, does anyone go halfway, or they say, you're a good guy, Jim, but I think you're deluded? Like, what did people just not speak with you?
Yeah, no, I've had people say that you were doing right when you were dealing with the illegal immigration topic, but once you got into Holocaust, that was that. You went off the deep end. Okay, so they thought I was doing good before, and now, I'm dealing with the Holocaust topic, and they don't want to have anything to deal with it.
Yeah, any old friends still with you? Have you, like, I've lost, like, for me, I was a Buddhist, so I had a close Buddhist group of student friends, and they pretty much that close group have left me. They haven't been rude, but they're just not returning my calls. They faded away. So that kind of hurts. I wonder if you have a similar story of old friends that don't want to.
Basically, I never had a lot of close friends, so generally the closest people are still with me now. You see what I'm saying? And but I've had people I've been in conversation with, I met them online or whatever, and then they find out what my views are here, then they kind of just fall off the earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be close friends, like acquaintances, associates, and then people no longer want to deal with you. I think everyone in the truth movement faces that.
I'll tell you this story. This is a beauty, because I had a business. I had my own business, a service-related business, and most of my customers were Jews. Okay, because what's good about the Jews? See, the Jews, if they like you and you're honest with them, they will refer you to other Jews. And so I got most of my work, 75% of my work with Jews, because they liked me, because I was honest with them. I dealt with them square. All right. Well, I was in a business network, and when they saw me on TV dealing with the Holocaust topic, when I talked about it in 2010, I believe it was, they kicked me out of the group. I was in the group longer than anybody. Okay?
Wow.
And they kicked me out of this group, and the reasoning was, listen to this. He says, well, we can't refer you to other people, if you have those views. I mean, it's like, what are you, out of your mind? I mean, I could have any view I want in life. I'm not talking to these people about the topic, but they're trying to, persecute me for thought crimes. And the one thing the Jews will do, and this is how they do it first, they try to get you and destroy you economically. They try to economically destroy you, okay? And if they can do that, they love it. And so basically, I lost 75% of my work. All the Jews they left. I mean, I was able to still work. I mean, I could work fine, but then I had some health issues that hurt. I hurt my leg and blah blah blah, and I had a very physical job, so I couldn't work anymore. So I ended up just saying, well, I just might as well retire. And so when I became 62, I retired. All right, so I've been out, 3 years, retired for 3 years, and I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to work anymore anyway. I'm retired, so they don't bother me anymore. But
so they go after you economically. They did that to me too. They got me fired from 6 jobs. Went after me economically. I wonder what's next after that. I remember Harold Abrams. He was with B'nai B'rith. He wrote on a website, they're going to watch if I have emulation, if people emulate me, then that would be the next level of trouble, you see. So I'm wondering what they're going to do next now that you and I are on YouTube.
The thing with you is you live in Canada. In Canada, boy, they're kind of wacky when it comes to free speech issues.
It's worse, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk here, and have no problem, okay? But you, I mean, I know that they're trying to tie this in with hate speech even here now. But, I mean, it's a big thing, right? They're trying to tie it into some sort of hate thing against people if you speak out against them or criticize the Holocaust topic. So, I feel bad for you more than you should feel bad for me, because I'm still, I got the First Amendment still protected here. I don't know how long that will be, but we'll see. What's going to happen with the First Amendment, how they're going to get around that, my opinion is that they're going to link everything dealing with Holocaust denial with terrorism.
Wow, okay. Go around the back door to avoid the First Amendment.
In other words, what you're doing is hateful, and they'll tie it in with some sort of hate propaganda crap, and make you like you're a terrorist type of person against a certain group of people, and and that will completely bypass the First Amendment. I'm sure it's going to have a hard time going, but I mean, I don't put it past them. And the Jews are really wicked, evil, despotic people. They really are. I mean, but not the mom and pop Jew. They're not like that. But what they do wrong is they don't speak out against the elitist Jews
Yeah.
in the world. You see, the mom and pop Jew could be like you and me, nice people. You talk to them, everything's fine, but they're not taking a stand against the elitist Jews who are coming against us and trying to take our free speech away. And
Yeah.
that's
But
even
maybe
though,
they don't know, right? Maybe they don't know so much. Like
well,
you and I know a lot about this.
well, that might be true, but let's say it's brought to their attention that I'm talking, like I try to get in touch with the temple in my town and to say I like to debate the topic. They won't debate the topic.
Yeah, I contacted the Jewish Center here too. I invited them onto the Brian Roos show. Never heard anything back from
Right.
them.
Okay, so what does that tell you? See, what
Yeah.
it tells you is they know you're onto them, and they don't want to have to deal with it. Because think about if I had a debate, a 90-year-old Holocaust so-called survivor, and I was really bringing up points about what he said happened to him. I'd bury the guy. He wouldn't know where he was coming and going because he'd see that I exposed his lies.
Yeah,
See,
he
they don't
couldn't
want to do
he
that.
couldn't give you a coherent story of what happened that was truthful. You're
Yeah,
right.
and what they'll
Yeah,
do
you could
is,
talk circles around him, Jim.
yeah, yeah, and then they'll say to me, "Oh, you're picking on an old guy. You mean
Yeah.
how dare you pick on this old guy who's lying his ass off?" I mean, that's basically what it is.
I'm gonna say you weren't there. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't there either. He thinks he was there. These
No,
guys.
I was talking a few weeks ago about the Jews. I did a video with Dave Gahary in Florida, and he said the Jews are like this big circle like this, but in the center there's this small circle, which is a problem, which I would say are the Talmudists. So this is the real problem.
Right.
But I guess you're making a good point. Most just wouldn't lad on if they knew that there was trouble with their
You have
tribe.
to understand how the Jews operate. They're a very tight knit society. Okay, group of people. They're elitist. Okay, I mean they're technically racist. I mean that's what they are because they don't want to deal with people coming into Israel who are not Jews. They want to just deal with Jews, and so that's their thinking. Okay, so to think you're going to get them, to change their viewpoint, and now they're going to be ostracized from the temple or whatever the Jewish associations are out there for them. They're not going to do it. They're cowards. Okay, but remember they're going to lose their businesses too. Okay, look at Norman Finkelstein. I mean, look at him. He's a Jew. He writes a couple books. He shows the Holocaust
Holocaust industry, yeah.
And he gets persecuted and he loses his job teaching and all these type of things have happened to him. And yet he believes in the Holocaust. I mean,
Yeah, he doesn't deny it, right?
He doesn't deny it. And yet the Jews, the fact that he criticized their holy grail, okay, the Holocaust.
And how they use it to manipulate and get money and power, right? That's his point.
Oh, absolutely. So that's why the Holocaust topic, it can't come down from their perspective because the fact is there's too many things based on it that are economically beneficial to the Jews. And if you erode that cult-like mentality of what's going on there, then that's it. The whole thing, house of cards, comes down and they're gone. Everything about it is gone.
It's like a ship. It's like a boat. They have to plug any leak in that ship because if that ship sinks, then the whole state of Israel doesn't have the right to exist. It's all based upon a lie.
Right.
Gosh.
Yeah, and that's why they come against the revisionists like ourselves. Because of the fact that if they listen to us or people get, they perk their ears and say, hey, that sounds pretty interesting, but they know that it's going to cause a problem. So that's why they don't want to deal with it. So
I want to talk a bit about the idea of a hate crime. Is the logic behind that? You're defaming the memory of the dead, people who died 72 years ago. You're defaming their memory. That hurts our feelings.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's a hate crime because you're defaming. That's probably enough justification to call that a hate crime. Is that their logic?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's really a crazy. But think about this, okay? I'm a hater because I'm telling you that less Jews died. All right, less Jews died. I'm the hater. Okay.
That should be good news. Yay, 6 million didn't die.
Hey, I got good news for you. Less Jews died. Oh,
great.
Wow,
that's great news. Oh, what a relief. Oh, 6 million didn't die. It's just.
Right. It's crazy. I mean, it's just, you think they would be happy to know Uncle Si didn't die in a homicidal gas chamber. You know what I mean? I mean, he might have died, but he didn't die because he was executed by the Germans. He might have died because he got typhus and whatever.
Yeah.
and then that's viable. I mean, hey,
Also, that 6 million didn't die, so that's good
right,
news in itself. The ones
yeah,
that didn't die.
yeah, right, right. So, in regards to my thoughts about how many died and all my research, here's my conclusion. What I've come up in reading, because you get even amongst revisionists and people that write about the topic, you get different figures. So my figure is going to be kind of like a figure that's a good average. Okay, I believe that there was probably about 500,000 Jews that were in the camps, okay, in the
Yeah.
camp system, and maybe at the most, half of them might have died, half of them, okay,
Yeah.
and that's what I come up with. I mean, that's kind of like probably even a high figure because in Auschwitz, they say that in Auschwitz now they claim around 70,000 people died in Auschwitz, and that's just one camp. So if you take all the camps into consideration, I mean, there couldn't have been more than a half a million of them, in all these camps
Yeah.
that I'm talking all people that were in the camps because they weren't just Jews. Everybody that probably died in the camps, and half of them might have been Jews. And so, that's what we're talking about. Now, some people, David Irving, I know he, thinks that 1 million or 2 million people were killed in Treblinka. I don't buy it. I
Let's
feel
talk a bit about Irving. Like, I was watching one of his videos, and he was saying, I haven't heard that about Treblinka. I don't believe that either. But he was saying on the Russian front, the Germans were defending themselves. They had to move quickly with expediency, so they had to execute a lot of partisans. He says up to 1 million Jews were executed, going through towns. They had to move quickly.
yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I think probably thousands were, a couple thousand, okay, but I don't
Yeah.
think millions were.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no way.
It's coming from David Irving, but he wasn't talking about concentration camps. Like the Holocaust is usually about concentration camps. He was talking more about
Right.
the Russian front.
Right. Well, he was probably referring to the Eisengruppen. Okay, they were the forces that went into a town before the regular Wehrmacht forces came in, and they would
Yeah, he was
go in
talking
there.
about that.
Yeah, they would go in the town to look for people that were shooting, that would be shooting them. Okay, and that's why they went in. They want to make sure that there was nobody that was going to impede the army, because these sharpshooters could be picking you off like crazy, and so that's what we're dealing with there. And sure, they caught these people, and if they were Jews or whatever they were, they would shoot them, they would kill them. Okay, but there's no way.
There was a war going on. There's a war
Yeah.
going on, and Germany didn't want the war, and they didn't start the war. They were defending themselves. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but there was no way 1 million of them were killed. I mean, like I said, I'd give you a couple thousand here and there, but I mean, not 1 million. And then again, David Irving feels that Treblinka was a homicidal camp that killed 1 million to 200 people between Treblinka, Sobibor, Belzec, in the Polish camps. He feels that approximately between 1 million, 2 million Jews were killed in those camps in homicidal gas chambers. I don't believe that.
He says gas chambers?
Yes.
He mentioned some small minor gas chambers, kind of like experimental
Oh no,
thing.
he feels that, and even Mark Webber kind of agrees with that, and David Cole agrees with that, and Eric Hunt agrees with that. I don't buy it. I don't, because you're still dealing with where are the bodies. Okay, in Treblinka.
Yeah, and it's not very efficient to use gas chambers. It's very dangerous.
No,
Like, why would you?
It's ridiculous to think that
Yeah.
you're going to take people and put them in trains and bring them hundreds and hundreds of miles to bring them to a camp, and then when they get in the camp, you gas them. Just shoot the people on spot. I mean, why would you waste all that manpower to do that? And the thing is, out of all these millions of people they say were killed, you can't find any mass amounts of traces of them. Where are they?
That's
There's
true.
no traces.
That's true.
In Treblinka, you go there today. It's an open area, nothing there. There's nothing there, and you dig up the ground. You're not going to find millions of bodies anywhere.
They've even sealed the ground with concrete in some places, right? So people can't dig because they don't want people to find the evidence.
What they did in Treblinka was kind of like what they do with the pigeons on top of roofs. You put these big spikes, nails, so the pigeons can't get on the roof. All right. Well, what they did is Treblinka, they put all these thousands of rocks pointing up. They're very kind of sharp pointed rocks, so nobody can go in that area where they claim that these people were buried. All right. So I
Yeah,
mean,
so
it's
they're not allowing people to dig to find the physical evidence, right? Because there'd be so many teeth and bones per cubic
well, you'd find all
foot of
you,
dirt, right? They
yeah.
would find that.
Yeah, you'd
Yeah.
find at least ashes or bone. You can't get rid of teeth. I mean, unless what do you think? They're going to pound all these teeth to
Yeah,
ash?
the teeth would be there, and they're not allowing us to examine it.
Oh, there'd be millions of teeth. There'd be millions of pounds of ash. You got to understand when you read what certain people have said, like Gerstein. He was supposed to be an eyewitness to this in Treblinka in the camps. Those I think Belzec, I believe it was one of the camps there, Treblinka or Belzec. But anyway, he said 25,000 people were being killed a day. 25,000 people. Do you know how many people that is? I mean, that is astronomical. And the camp was going for about 8 months. So, 25,000.
And how many crematoriums did they have, and how many?
Well, they didn't have
Yeah.
any in those camps, not in the Polish camps. The Polish camps didn't have crematoria, okay?
So they claimed that they just buried them, I guess.
Well, no,
That's
they
what they
claimed
claimed.
what they did is they took them and they put them on these railroad grates and put wood underneath them and burned them like a hibachi. Okay.
That would take hours and hours.
They claim they burned 3,000 at a time. I mean, are you out of your mind? This could never happen.
It's fiction. It's a fantasy. Anyone who studies this, it's a fairy tale. And also, one thing is that when people die from a cyanide gas, the skin turns pink, right? And there's never any reports of people turning pink. They said, oh, they turn black and blue because they never done this before. They're just making it up as they went along.
Right. But they turned pink also with the carbon monoxide too. Yeah.
But there's no reports of people turning pink.
No. I mean, again, the whole gas chamber. If you got to understand, in Treblinka, and remember, they say more people died well, Auschwitz was where they said the most people died, but in Treblinka they said a million, almost up to 1 million people died in Treblinka, and they used in the beginning diesel gas chambers. Now you have to understand, you can't really use diesel to kill people. It's not an effective way to kill them.
Yeah, it doesn't really kill people. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't kill them in a short period of time. I mean, it might kill them in an hour or 2 hours, but if you put 2,000 or 3,000 people in a room, they said that with 2,000 or 3,000 people in, they would have died by suffocation before the diesel affected them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's ridiculous to think that they can tell you this, but then they know the diesel story was stupid, so they changed it to say, oh, it was regular petrol gas, the carbon monoxide now, from the...
So they changed the story as they went along. I think they said they electrocuted them on conveyor belts and stuff. That's one story. That didn't work.
In Belzec, they said they had a conveyor belt that people went on it, and it submerged them in water, and they electrocuted them. I mean, they got so many stories. I mean, they're just silly stories. I mean, all these stories are just silly.
Yeah, my friend was telling me, what about the eyewitnesses? But the eyewitness testimony was so contradictory. And in the court of law in Toronto, the Holocaust trial, they threw out the eyewitnesses for the retrial because their testimony was so bad. The prosecution didn't want the eyewitness testimony.
Yeah, the
so
testimony from these people is so bizarre that you think you are watching a horror movie, because of all the ways that they said these people were killed. They said they were killed with brain bashing machines, atomic bombs, electrocutions. I mean, you name any way that you could kill a person, and they claim that they were killed this way. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, the things that they say. In fact, if you do a search on YouTube and look up, I put a video up called Sausage Lady, and it's about what's her name, Hannon. Her name was Hannon, I believe it was. Her last name was Hannon, and she gives a testimony that the Jews were made into sausages and lunch meats, and leather goods, and the skin was turned into lampshades. I mean, she says, Rachel Hannon, that's her name. And when you're watching this and you're saying people actually believe this crap, I mean, this is lies, outright lies. I mean, they know that the Jews weren't made into soap. They know there weren't no shrunken heads.
They admit it, right? The Holocaust Museum itself admits it now.
They admit that didn't happen. And yet this woman, Rachel Hannon, the sausage lady on YouTube, she's going to schools or going and talking to people, being interviewed, saying that the Germans were killing people like that. And it's like, this is unbelievable how she can lie like this and people still believe it. And even their own people don't believe it. You know?
Yeah, it's a shame how people that such lies, it defames the German reputation, and people believe it. And there's this huge guilt complex on the Jews, like such negative karma to do that to people.
Yeah,
It's profoundly evil.
yeah, they made the Germans into the most evil people that ever existed on the earth, and of course that's been continuing on since World War One. You know, you got to remember,
Yeah, World War One.
the same thing happened with World War One with the Germans. They said the Germans were bayoneting the kids, you know, with their bayonets, the babies, and they were cutting people's hands off. And, you know, all these gas chamber myths and all these myths came up, you know, during that war, and they just kind of just brought them back in to World War II and said the Germans were doing the same thing. And with the propaganda machine, you know, they got people to believe it. That's why the United States came into the war, because they got the sentiment of people in this country to believe the Germans were doing all these atrocity type things to the people. And they weren't doing that at all. If anything, they were trying to help these people. They put them in the camps. They were working in the camps. They were in the safest place you could be. Okay, if anything, they were saved from the Allied bombings that killed all the other Germans in the other camps, not camps, but in the other towns. They were saved. Okay, all the Jews that survived, I mean, thousands and millions of them survived. You know, but they.
What about all those survivors? You wonder. I remember as a kid, I wonder, well, if the Germans were exterminating all the Jews, how come all these survivors telling about it? And at the end of the war, like hundreds of thousands survived. Why didn't they just kill them all? Why didn't they have that chance? Why didn't they do it? They're so efficient. You know, they never. No one explains that.
Yeah, well, you know, the official German story is, with children anyway, they said any child that went into the Auschwitz or the camps, they said from 15 years old down were killed immediately. That's what they said.
Yeah, right into the gas. Yeah, in the movies you see they're pointing to the gas chamber. You the gas chamber, okay, you work. You the gas chamber, you work. Yeah. It's all Hollywood Hitler.
Yeah. And yet all the survivors today were those kids that were 5, 10, or 15 years old.
Yeah.
Imagine. So all the ones that are talking today were those kids that didn't get exterminated in gas chambers. So why? What happened? Oh, Hitler was nice. He let them all go. But that's not the official story. The official story is he killed them all.
Yeah, and if they wanted people to work, even kids can do some work, even old people can do some work, and they needed people to work. So it doesn't make sense to kill them, and they didn't. Yeah.
No, I mean, again, this is all propaganda and lies that is being perpetuated by the Jewish lobby today, because they have to keep the Holocaust story in the front in people's minds, so they can always think about the Jews as being, oh, these poor people, you know, victims. They've been victims all these years.
Yeah.
You know, and then these victims can go in Israel and kill all the Palestinians and get away with it because, oh, they're victims. They were victims during.
And as a minority, they're the most privileged, wealthy minority in America. Like what, 2% of the American population, quite wealthy. Well, do you want to speculate about the future of the lie? They've been lying to us for 75 years on this. What do you think the future lie is? Like one big hope we have the internet. You and I can share this on YouTube.
The internet has been the godsend to expose them, because that's where our information is now getting out. But you know, they still control it. I mean, you know, the Jews still control the mass media and the way the direction of the stories go. And
yeah, we have to bow to YouTube. They own YouTube, and YouTube allows these videos. I mean, they allow it, but yeah, it's all privately owned. It's not freedom of speech, liberty, and democracy owning YouTube.
Right. So I mean, you know, we're still banned in that sense, even though we can get the videos up there, but you don't see, you know, your video or my video getting 1 million hits, right? I mean, you'll see some stupid video of a cat playing the piano, you know.
Get 1 million hits.
I mean, you know, you get 1 million hits or 10 million hits. You know, the stupidest things get all the hits, because that's the mindset of the people today. The people today have to be the dumbest people in the world that's ever existed. And the reason why is because they're, you know, technology-wise, they've been brought up in cell phones and you know, games, video games. They don't think and read anymore. They have.
I think Americans are quite insular too. Americans kind of is a bit insular, like we're not like Europeans, not so influenced by others. So they tend to more believe, I guess, what the government tells them.
Well, I'm just saying, like the
media tells them.
People today are very stupid. I mean, they really don't read anymore. They watch short videos. They don't watch videos, maybe an hour video that might explain all about the topic. So their attention span is short, and their knowledge is completely shot because who's teaching them? They're not being taught the true story in schools, you know. So these kids who end up being adults, I mean, you know, think about it, they have no idea what's going on. And the only thing they know how to do is text people and get on Facebook and, you know, do video stuff. They have no clue of how to react with people, how to talk to people, how to intellectually debate.
How to weigh evidence, and consider, Jim, the people that you're trying to help and the people I'm trying to help are probably the ones most opposed to us. They say, how can you say that? That's wrong. It's like people are programmed to self-regulate their own people. It's like the Jews don't have to persecute. Our own people were persecuted. The ones you're trying to help are the ones that blame you for saying such terrible things. So that's kind of the psychology we're dealing with. It's sad. Yeah, the people you're trying to help.
Yeah, and even the Christians, you know, there's more Christians in the United States than any other group of people, and yet most of them are Christian Zionists. Okay, so they're protecting the Jews, and they don't even know that the Jews hate them. You know what I mean? I mean, they're protecting a group of people that vehemently hates Christianity. And
it's true. They have a very deep hatred for European culture and the Christian religion.
Right.
In fact, we could comment on the videos we both did with Germar Rudolph, and one video I did with him, he was talking about his church and how they would, you know, the idea of promoting war, they make the next villain, the next Hitler, and then off to war they go, and how the church would promote that. So he had that same concern, you know. You want to comment on sort of Germar's talk?
Well, I watched your video with Germar, and
I watched yours with him as well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was interesting because it seemed like Germar hates to give any credit to the Germans. You know what I mean? Because
he's raised with German guilt, or what?
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to make it look like he is backing them up. You know what I mean? Or supporting them. And see, Germar, he's going at the Holocaust from a whole different aspect than we are. You know what I'm saying?
Like chemistry, right? Chemistry and science.
He deals with it like a scientific chemistry type of thing about the Holocaust.
That's his specialty.
That's his specialty.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, we look, you know, we don't, like, you won't hear Germar talking bad about the Jews for the most part. He doesn't really say much bad about the Jews, but he just deals with issues dealing with the chemistry of Auschwitz and things like that. You know, and that's
you know, my first video with him a year ago, he said Jews are just white people who think that they're different. I thought, well, doesn't he understand the deep problem we have?
Again, you know, you have
national power.
Germar's in a situation now that he could get a lot of flack with the publications that he's putting out and everything, and so that's fine. And I'm glad, you know, he's doing a tremendous work.
With Kodo,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have no problem.
HolocaustBooks.com,
But you got to understand, there's only so far certain people can go in their criticism of the Jews. You know what I mean? Because once you get over that threshold and you're noted as someone who criticizes the Jews, that's it. You're done. I mean, you kiss your goodbye. You know what I mean? If you have a job, you know, if you work in academia, and if you work in a school, you work for the government, you're not going to have a job.
Funny. Germar said in my video, he said, I don't even look for jobs anymore. And I was thinking to myself, I got fired from jobs too. I could work, you know, privately, but I can't just go out and get a job. It's the same thing.
Well, I mean, Germar, he's in a good position now because, you know, he's a home person. He homeschools the kid. Well, I don't know if he homeschools them, but the kids are around him a lot, and he's taking care of the kids, and he has all this time he can devote to the books, that very important work to get these books out and the information, and he's doing a great job in videos.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching him evolve with his videos, and he's really come up, you know, in regards to his production, you know, capabilities. And I really thought that was great, and I hope he continues on doing that. So
the chemistry of Auschwitz, his latest documentary. I mean,
oh yeah, phenomenal.
I'd like to promote that for people. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great stuff. So Germar's a great guy. You know, I hope he continues on. I would love to see more people support him. You know, I'd love to see more people support all of us. You know, because you know, we have a tough road to hoe, and you know, we've been cut off financially, you know, from work and from the world, and but you know, people help us out, and I'm happy to see that, and it's just great to see that people will do that. I mean, you know, because they won't, you know, they're not going to get on TV or they're not going to get on YouTube. and they know that
Yeah.
we are, and they'll say,
Yeah,
hey,
they
look,
can help support people who are on YouTube. Actually, I make an appeal to the audience to donate to you and also donate to the Brian Ruhe Show as well. I'll keep these
well,
videos
I'm
going.
just saying. I mean,
Because we're in the front lines. You're right.
I just had to pay for my all my website stuff over $700. I just had to pay to up it up for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, and it's like, whoa. I mean, that's a big expense. So I'm in a fixed income, and we're all in fixed incomes more or less, and we're trying to do our best to I'm trying to do this. I consider it almost like a full-time job what I'm doing, and I enjoy it. I love what I'm doing, and hope I can continue doing it. But I really do appreciate the help I get, because there are very kind people out there that have been really helping us, and I hope that continues, and we'll continue to do what we can to support the work too.
Yeah, keep on going, and to keep on going. It's a great mission. I mean, I think it's very good karma because it's about truth, and it's such a deep and high truth. But it's a profound truth. I remember Diana Spingola saying that the Holocaust is a foundation for the whole New World Order. She felt.
Right. Oh yeah, it absolutely is. I think so too. I think if you look at the spokes on a wheel, I think the Holocaust is the middle spoke. Everything that happened from that Holocaust time onward has to do with the situation in the world today with all these governments, especially Israel. Because you got to understand, Israel is a very powerful government that influences the United States. But then the United States goes out and does the dirty work. And it all came down from that Holocaust issue and the lies that came in from there, about the Jews being killed and the atrocities.
Like that analogy of a spoke. Did you mean the Holocaust is the hub of the wheel itself?
Yeah,
or
it's
spoke?
the hub. It's
The hub,
the main
the very hub.
in all the spokes of all the other things, 9/11, all
Kennedy
these other.
assassination.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking all these other things are just things that come off of that spoke. That's my feeling towards it.
Off the hub. So it's the very hub between the wheels itself.
That's how I feel it, because it's.
That's a good analogy.
We're dealing with a modern day situation here, and there's no other topic that gets people riled up as the Holocaust topic. I mean, you could talk about anything. I mean,
I noticed that. I had a close friend. We used to meet for coffee about 3 years ago. And then she said, her husband was upset that I denied the Holocaust. And then she said, just out of respect for my marriage, I just can't be friends with you, and never saw her since. And I thought, really, is it that personal? Like, I thought this is a bit more abstract historical thing, but it's so personal to people. It just makes me a bad person.
You know why? Because it's a cult. The Holocaust is basically a cult. It has its high priest. Okay, it has its all the little people that go out to the schools to spread the cult message. They have the money that comes in to support the cult. I mean, it's just a cult. And so,
it's like a religion, Holocaust-ianity, the high priest, and it has its sacred relics, and it's got its Mecca, right? Auschwitz is its Mecca, it's its pilgrimage site.
Yeah, and millions of people go there every year to visit it. So you're absolutely right. I mean, that's what it is. And people have a hard time, distancing themselves from that cult, because it's very, very painful. If you leave a cult, it's painful, because you lose, all your friends, you lose a lot of things. And a lot of the Jews and a lot of the Zionist Christians, it's hard for them to break free from it, So hopefully we can try to help them with, like I told you in the beginning, the Holocaust Deprogramming Course.com has a site. And then look at the HolocaustHandbooks.com site and all the other revisionist videos. I mean, just look up videos on the Holocaust, Holocaust lies, David Irving, because David Irving has done some great videos, even though he has a different viewpoint now of things. If you look up all these videos, Zundel videos, or Zundel videos, David Cole videos, there's so much out there that people can really just take in and ingest. I mean, it's terrific. I mean, you could spend all day and night watching videos on YouTube dealing with the topics.
Yeah, and I have. But how do you think this compares with mainstream media? Like the future's uncertain. Do you think the mainstream media will win out in the future, and the dumbed down population just will never penetrate the Holocaust? Do you think the truth will break out in the future? Do you think we'll ever know? Like,
I would like to think that would happen, but something? I look at life as it doesn't matter to me what happens, because no matter what happens, okay, if I'm going to go down, I'm not going down on my knees, okay?
Yeah, me too.
So that's how you have to view it. You can't view it as getting better or getting worse. You have to just look at where you are in the space of time and what you're doing with it, okay? And hopefully, you're happy with what you're doing with it, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, I can get shot the next day. I mean, that's life. But
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, we don't know
yeah,
what the future, but we're doing the right thing. Just do
right,
the right thing. Whether you succeed or fail, you just keep doing the right thing.
right,
And it's good karma. It's good
right.
karma. Even if you fail, it's a very
Right.
good
I,
merit
I,
to do
I
this.
kind of look at what we're doing is we're in the foxhole right now, and we're in the battle, and we're fighting the battle. All right, and that's how it is. If I live or die in that foxhole, that's irrelevant to me at this point in time. I'm just going to keep fighting. I'm not going to let them get the best of me. I'm gonna at least say to them, I don't agree with you, and I'm gonna fight you right down to the end. And you'll have to kill me to stop me. I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, I'm not going to worry about it.
Well, there's a lot of people watching your video now, right now. They really admire you, Jim. Like, admire your courage. I really admire you. That's the right attitude. I wish there were more people like you, more people like us who would stand up. Of course, people with a job might not want to
Well,
do it,
that you can
but why
understand.
can't people do it when they're retired? Why
Well,
can't people
that's
stand
the
up?
point. I mean, the majority of people have to work and survive and pay bills, and that's good, and that's why they have to support us, okay?
Yeah, they
Because
can at least support us. We're
I
in the
mean,
front lines.
at least support us so that we can get the work done, and they can work. Fine, you want to work, you want to make a lot of money, do what you want, but again, spread your money out so that you're supporting the people that are doing the work out there. And I think, if I had millions of dollars, which I don't, but if I did, I would be supporting, Gurma, I'd be supporting all the people that are putting the videos out, you and everybody, because that's what enables us to go on, the fact that we can survive and go on. And it's just so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, the analogy I've often thought of is that the trenches of World War I, they fought, Hitler and others were there for 4 years, 1914 to 1918, but they were supported by their people in the trenches. They were fed and paid
Right.
for and supported. Whereas you and I are like true soldiers. We're in the trenches. We're not being supported by our own people. The people
Yeah,
we're trying to, because they're not aware that they're in a war. Like, you
Right.
and I are aware that we're in an information war, a truth war, but most people are not even aware they're in a war. So it's, in a way, it's a tougher battle than World War I.
Yeah.
In a way. Some ways it's not as deadly. Some ways it's tougher.
Well, the thing is, they have to understand, too, the free speech issue, that this Holocaust topic has to do with their free speech in whatever they believe, too. Because if they can come after us and try to stop our free speech, it's just a matter of time before they get to these people that try to get into their inner thoughts and what they believe and think. That's what I'm saying. So it's going to affect, I think, all people, all constitutional people, people that, believe in what, doing what's right. I think it's going to affect everybody.
That's true about free speech, but I think when you raise the Holocaust, you're not thinking about free speech. You think, oh, how can you be such a bad person?
Yeah.
But it is a free speech issue because,
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I think Americans are a bit more aware of free speech than Canadians. Canadians, I did a video with Jared Taylor, and he was saying Canadians are more supine. I thought, yeah, we just lay down before authority figures more so than Americans. So I appreciate your backbone, Jim.
Yeah, right. I know it.
Yeah.
So anyway, life goes on, and Diane and I are coming back to Toronto. I think in November. I'm not sure. I think it is, and we'll be back up to meet the friends up in Toronto to talk to them, and we try to do things as much as we can, traveling to go here and there to educate people, to meet people, encourage people, because that's what it's all about. You have to find out there's other people out there, that are like you, that want to know these truths.
Yeah.
That's what we try to do. We try to bring these truths to them, and
we need to sort of network together. I also want to express my thanks to Diana. She took my my logo for my video and put the soundtrack, the great music Dennis Wise uses, the greatest story never told, Adolf Hitler. So she made it for my logo. So that's the standard identity, the Brian Ruhe logo. And Diana did that for me. She volunteered. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
so
she's really
I'd say
good.
that publicly. She's very good. Yeah.
She's been a big help to me. And now that she knows how to do video editing, she's doing all the video editing now for the most part. And, when she goes back home to Texas, because that's where she lives, her internet is wicked slow there. So it's hard to do video stuff where she lives because she's on DSL, which is like, slow as molasses. Now, when she comes up to visit me, then she works on more videos, and then she can get them out because the video here is fast. The internet is faster, so she can get things done quicker. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, there are these practicalities of us on the front lines with limited budget compared to, mainstream media, CBS News, and the History Channel and their version of mainstream media history. That's what we're up against. Well, but a lot of people are waking up, though. I'm encouraged. Basically, I'm optimistic about the future. I'm encouraged with people waking up, I think, now. And in fact, in a sense, we have more freedom of speech now than ever before in history, with the internet.
Yeah, but they're trying to take that away from you, too. Don't think they're not. I mean, see, you got to understand, the Jews, even though the Jews own all the internet, this is kind of backfiring on them, you see, because the fact that too much information is getting out, and they own it. They own the internet and everything associated with it, and too much of our information is getting out. And now they're trying to, finagle things and work things around so they can stop people here and there, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to do that, and they did it to me, and they'll do it to you, I'm sure, and they'll do it to everybody that's speaking for the truth.
That gives me a great idea. The way to make $1 trillion is Netanyahu would probably give you $1 trillion. You can figure a way to get rid of the internet tomorrow. Probably give you $2 trillion.
Oh, geez. Well, the internet is good and bad to it. I mean, you just use it for the good, and hopefully we can get the message out and get good news out there to people, and expose the evil Zionist Jewish world power that's trying to take over the world. I mean, actually, they took over the world. It's just a matter of getting more people into the fray.
Yeah, that's one of my main themes is sort of Rothschild, Talmudists, international Zionist power or Jewish power, and it's kind of profound. It covers all aspects of life, like media, medicine, education, government, finance, Federal Reserve, like every aspect of modern life is basically under their guidance or control, not 100% control, but it's really a profound subject. Don't you think that how such a small group of people could have such, in a way they form a very perception of reality itself.
Yeah, I'm reading right now, like I do a lot of reading, and I'm reading a lot of Eustace Mullins. Do you know him, Eustace Mullins?
Oh yeah, I've read his stuff and I love his videos. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
a wise man.
Yeah, I have a lot of, I have all his PDFs and books on PDF, and I'm reading the Federal Reserve now, the one he did on that. So it's just so much information that he has, and you can learn a lot from him. So that's the whole point. I try to read, a lot of the information from all the people that are publishing it now, and people from the past too that have published a lot of good stuff. There's so much out there to read. I mean, there's really tons of material, and like I said, I've kind of gone through a lot of these books here behind me, and I can't, I wish I could retain even, 1% of what I've read, because it's just there's so much information. It's hard to do it,
Yeah. So I guess you're very well read. I guess you've studied Hitler, his life, is what he's done, his story.
Well, I'm reading his Table Talk now.
Wow.
There's a book called Table. I've never read Mein Kampf. It's not that it doesn't interest me that much because it was pre-war. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, as a young man, 1925. Yeah, I'm more interested in his actual speeches when he was in power. We can read those speeches.
Yeah, so he has a book called The Table Talk, Hitler's Table Talk. And I enjoy reading that because he comments about a lot of topics in a short amount of time in paragraphs. So it goes by day. Like this day he talked about this, when he was having lunch or something, and this day he talked about this. So it's called Hitler's Table Talk, and that I'm reading that too. I read a couple books concurrent with each other. You know what I'm saying? So, some will take me a long time to get through, and some I can get through in maybe a couple of days. But, I try to keep up. I try to read every week, a couple things, just to keep my brain going here,
I should get you to comment on, I have the Thule Society with thulesociety.com, and we take a spiritual interpretation of Adolf Hitler, that he was so brilliant that he has some kind of spiritual attainment, some sort of spiritual development, as a being. Do you think of him in that way? Do you think of it like his brilliance?
That's a good question because, there was something special about him. I mean, I can't figure it out, but he really was in tune to a lot of things. Okay, when you see the programs that he instituted in Germany and what he did for Germany, I mean, he would have been a tremendous politician today, because he
Yeah.
wouldn't have took no baloney, all right, and he would have instituted the programs that would have been the best programs for the people and the least cost.
Yeah,
And
for the people.
I mean, he was just phenomenal in his insights and what he knew. I mean, he must have been a well-read man, and but he was, what I've seen of him, he was a kind man. He was a kind
Yeah.
person. He loved children. He loved animals. He didn't want to see the environment hurt or destroyed. And I don't know. I just see a lot of positives to him. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's some kind of meditative attainment. Like his insight was, and he spent a lot of time like alone. Like he would be up late at night, or he'd walk in the wilderness alone, like these yogis. Like he probably was
Yeah.
fond of his kind of communing with the higher realms or something. Yeah, I remember I did a video with John Friend, and he said, "Well, Hitler had it, whatever it is, he had it. He
Yeah,
had he had something."
In fact, I'm going to be talking to John's going to be interviewing me tonight at 10.
Oh, very good. Say hi to John for me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's funny you mention him. But yeah, so yeah, Hitler, I don't know everything about him, and some people are going to say he did this bad or that bad, but hey, everybody's imperfect. You're not perfect, but I think that again, we slaughtered the wrong man. I mean, we killed the wrong man. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if Hitler was still alive today, I think the world would be a better world. A lot more lawful, organized, in step with the surroundings of the environment, and how people deal with each other.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I really think it would have been. But then who do we get in there? We get the communists in there. Okay?
Yeah.
The communists are the worst of people. They stand for every single thing that is bad. I mean, you just name it, it's bad. And so there's your difference between Hitler and Stalin and communism. There's your choice.
Yeah, and think of the speeches, Hitler's speeches, like it's so inspiring. He just have this magnetic charge on the people. And sometimes I'm just in tears listening to his speeches today on YouTube. Of course, they have subtitles. I can understand the subtitles. It's such a powerful. That shows a real spiritual power. He's got something.
Well, like I said, he had these people believing him because they knew he wasn't a liar and he wasn't stringing them along. And everything he was doing was for the benefit of the German people.
And he delivered, yeah. He delivered.
And eventually, that would have worked its way out to the other European nations. See, that's what would have happened.
And just imagine, the parallel timeline. If there wasn't a war, if Germany just continued to flourish, National Socialism could have grown more. My parents were in Holland at the time. I could have grown up in Holland or Germany. Right. Yeah, well, how would you envision the future if there had been no war and Germany just kept growing?
Right. I think the world would have been way better off. I mean, that's my personal feeling. I mean, again, the Jews will listen to that statement and just their hair would just stick up. But that point is, get out all the atrocity crap and all the lies and just look at what the good that Hitler was trying to do, okay? And then you're going to see that he was way better than anybody else in the world. I mean, better than FDR, better than all the other people, Churchill. I mean, his programs and the things he was trying to implement was always for the benefit of the people, always. Yeah. And, whereas FDR was servicing the Jews.
Servicing the bankers too, the bankers.
The bankers. I mean, they were all servicing the people that were hurting us and harming us, and they continue to harm us. So,
yeah. And just think of how he uplifted the people. The economy was soaring. New inventions, incredible creativity amongst the German people. More like 500,000 or 600,000 patents that the Allies stole at the end of the war.
Yeah.
Like they're so creative. Like what they could have done,
Oh yeah. And look, he gets a car, a Volkswagen car. For the people, for the common people, something they all could enjoy at a reasonable cost. You know what I mean? Whereas you look at the car manufacturing today, they don't make a car for a reasonable cost. They just stick it to you, and you have to go fend for yourself to buy a car. But he made it so that they could afford this car, Yeah,
the Volkswagen for the folk, the Volkswagen.
Yeah. It's amazing to see what he's done, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. You know, Brian, you don't mind me saying this, but I think you kind of look like Hitler a little bit.
Oh, thank you. I think that's real compliment. I used to have the mustache a year
Well,
ago.
yeah, I know, but you should do what the guy did in Germany. There was a video out saying he's back. Have you seen that? The one that
Yeah,
says,
I seen that. Yeah.
if you put a mustache on, and of course, if you did this in Canada, they'd probably lock you up.
I know. I like the idea. Like you getting a uniform, a khaki uniform from head to toe with a black
Well,
strap.
I think you should do that and go walk around and see how the response would be.
Well, let's make that's more of a fundraising question for my supporters. If they can get me like the suit made somewhere cheap, like in India, get me the suit. I would wear it for a video. I would do that. So that's my challenge to the viewers.
Well, I think it would be great. I mean, because you definitely have the hair. You look like it. If you put a mustache on, it would probably be very similar.
I probably wouldn't wear it in the street, but I would use it for the purpose of videos because I kind of live this life now where people in the neighborhood, they don't really know who I am. I'm just friendly Brian, no problem at all. I'd make these videos like this.
Right.
So I could get away with in a studio or on the street for video. I would do it.
Yeah. Well, there's something that we could throw out to the people out there if they want to help help
Brian Ruhe Show. Help the Brian Ruhe Show.
Well, the Brian Ruhe Show. And
the ThoulSociety.com, yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, they might help you out. So hopefully they will do that. So
still, in all respect to Adolf Hitler, I'm just an actor. Can't compare myself to him.
Oh no, I understand. I understand.
Wow. Well, it's been a great talk. Any last thoughts? I think we've been going for quite a while here, about an hour and a half.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like I said, I'll be seeing, people up in Toronto. Maybe I'll see you. I don't know if you ever get out that way, but.
Well, not often. I was there last time.
You're on the other side of the state. I mean,
yeah, I'm in Vancouver. Yeah, I'm 2,000 miles away in Vancouver, British Columbia, the West Coast.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry I missed you last time, but yeah, but it's been a good talk. Yeah, I really appreciate having you on.
Keep me in mind. We always catch up. If you see something going on, or you want to talk to me about some specific thing, I'll be happy to talk with you. And you're doing a great job. I got to admit, you're doing more videos, way more than I am, because you're interviewing all different types of people, and I think that's really good. I mean, you can do it and do it. I hope you continue to do it because you're doing a good job.
Thank you, and I've loved your interviews, like with the League of Extraordinary Revisionists. You've had some great people on there, like Fred Leuchter and others. So thank you.
I would like to do a couple more. I'd love to interview Ernst Zundel. I would love to do that.
I guess we all would. He's pretty quiet about these things.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. But I'm still working on doing other people's interviews, and now we figured out the Skype thing here. What I mean? Yeah. I mean, doing the Skype is
the split screen Skype. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how it's going to come up, but I'll take this video. I'll probably work on it today to get it up when I'm done. So that's what I'll be doing. So I appreciate you having me on, Brian. It was great, and like I said, keep up the good work yourself, and a lot of people are happy with what you're doing because you're the only other person that I know, other than me, that is putting these type of videos up.
Yeah, you and I are very similar. Like you and I are the only two doing specifically this kind of stuff, like interviewing revisionists and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, you and I are really in parallel that way. So that's why I really appreciate your work, and I want you back on the show again. We can pick each other's brain and exchange notes.
Right? No. Let me know whenever you want to do this. So again, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for being on the show, Jim. It's been great.
Okay, we'll talk to you another time. All right, bye now.
See you.
Lie, 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 lie.